I can tell you're not being who you are. I know you travel far to get to this frame of mind. Hidden behind riches, expensive cars. What did you have to trade? Cause you got a healthy heart.
Hey, this is JM, and you're watching On the Run with Sakara.
They don't see the demons preying on your soul to feed you.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Sakara, and you already know I'm with JM today, and I'm so excited to talk about your project, Laissez Faire. And it's such a beautiful name, such great visuals. But before we even jump into it, I have to ask you about quarantine. How are you staying sane throughout this time period?
So right before quarantine, I kind of really was diving into my mental health just on my own, and I really started locking into practicing my affirmations and making sure I say them several times a day. So that was a big part of why I was able to be calm. I didn't really do anything extra with quarantine because I feel for some reason, I don't know if I have intuition, but I was just working on it beforehand, and it kind of just continued throughout that. And I have a partner, so I'm not as alone as a lot of people. So it's been okay. It's been okay. I had a lot of time to create and think.
You know, I love the fact that you were already working on yourself, because I think for a lot of people, it forced them to take a step back. And it seems like you were already on your journey. And shout out to you actually being able to be in a relationship and do well, because a lot of people, the stories, have you heard these stories?
Yeah.
Divorces?
Yeah. I will say that being trapped with your significant other is pretty make or break. It's you're either gonna kill each other or grow together. And during the quarantine, I probably had moments where I wasn't sure which way we were gonna go, to be honest. But yeah, we definitely grew together because we dedicated ourselves to that. So that was cool. Thankfully, made it.
No, I definitely love that. Speaking of different things that you went through, what is the biggest lesson you think you've learned during quarantine this year?
The biggest thing I've learned in quarantine this year is to make sure that you are looking out for yourself. During quarantine, I found myself helping a lot of people, and we still are kind of in a quarantine phase, but we had a little pause where we were kind of coming out, and a lot of those things weren't reciprocated. And it did kind of mess with me emotionally for a little while. So it's just be that person for people when you want to be, but just make sure that you don't do it at the expense of yourself.
That was really good pointers for anybody during any time.
Yeah,
so,
anytime.
Yeah, and that's what I want to talk about. I feel listening to your music is very soulful. It's calming. It's inspirational. So I first want to start out with the title. How did you come up with the title, and what is the meaning to you?
Laissez Faire. So Laissez Faire, the exact translation in French is let it be. But the whole concept came from the French Revolution, where the business owners were tired of the government having too much say in what they could do with their life and how they could conduct themselves. And I kind of feel it's a parallel to the industry and artists and what they tell you about how you have to create your art, how you have to promote it, how you have to market yourself. And I was being thrown a whole bunch of suggestions left and right, and I was just nope. Nope, I got to do it my way. So just that whole concept. I'm a little bit of a nerd, so I see parallels in history and art all the time. So I just decided to combine that together. And it's a cool name. I like the way it sounds.
Yeah, it does.
I like the way it rolls off, for real. Aside from the fact of it's really dope. It's funny because in the French Revolution, it actually went really wrong. So I always kind of like to mention that, just for irony reasons, but it went totally wrong. It's not gonna go wrong, with me, because I'm pretty sure that I know what I'm doing, but they ended up not knowing what they were doing, and like, yeah, it kind of got a little crazy over there.
I love that you're so authentically yourself, and you were talking about how people are trying to basically tell you do this, do that, and you're just like, no, I'm going to be myself. I also want to talk about your image. Do you feel like for you've ever had challenges in the music industry trying to stay true to who you are, and how do you overcome that for other artists out there?
That has been a huge issue, huge one. So I've been natural for like 10 years now. So yeah, I've been natural for like 10 years, but and now I feel like my music is a lot more soulful and like kind of inspirational, and of a whole lot more substance than it was when I started out. I started doing music when I was 16. I'm turning 31, so that's like 15 years. I was a totally different person, but because I had a fro, like people were trying to put me into this box of, okay, so you're like only neo soul, and I'm like, no, I don't really like that. Like that's not who I am. And I mean, at that time I was like a whole ratchet, like running the streets with a fro. But now I am kind of, it's funny because I always was like running away from that, and now I'm kind of more in that lane, but still I'm not all the way there, and who's to say I even want to be like all the way there. I might want to just be myself forever, So that was the biggest thing, just having people try to make me like light candles all the time, like incense, and you should, like, you're all natural, hug trees, like play with the flowers. I'm like, all right, I get it. Like I'm actually just doing this because this is how my hair grows. It has nothing to do with like my connection to whatever. But yeah, now I'm pretty connected to like the world, so it's funny. But that was my biggest struggle. Before I had natural hair, it was like a lot of over sexualization and trying to make me be freaky nasty. I was like 15, and I look back at like some of my photo shoots. I'm like, who okayed this? Because I'm actually a child, and that's not cool. But yeah, image is very sensitive. So lately I've been either doing my natural hair or gray hair. I started actually growing gray hairs, so I decided that sometimes I'm just gonna have my whole hair gray. It's cool. I like it. It makes me like embrace, because I am getting older. I'm 31. That's not old, but when you're in the music industry, people start off when they're like 12. So like, 31 is like, all right, you're getting up there. So I'm like, all right, so I'm going to embrace my age. I'm not going to be afraid of the grays. I don't have to like pull them out or try to hide them. Yeah, I'm going to do a whole gray head. I have gray braids now, So just being comfortable in wherever your image takes you. I don't look the way I look when I started, but just being comfortable with what it's going to be, because I can't change the way I look.
I'm really inspired by that, because it's a whole trend, the gray hairs, and a lot of older people are like, what are you guys doing, and like, why? But it's funny that you actually have a story that I feel like would make sense to them. They would be like, oh okay, But I think that's so great that you were able to maintain your image, and I think it is unfortunate how people assume, oh, your hair looks like this, or your personality is this, when that could be the furthest thing from the truth. But that is ironic how it kind of just adds up.
Like, and now I'm a whole tree hugger. Right. Like, now I like incense. Now I'm burning candles and crystals and all of that stuff that they always thought I was doing anyway. So it's funny.
Yeah. They was just like trying to rush it. You was like, let me be me. Let me
get drunk tonight first.
Yeah, I love it. So we got to start with Catch It, because when I heard it, I was like, wow, this is like really good advice. I feel like you were being somebody's parental figure or big sister on the record. So I wanted to know, where did that inspirational side of you come from, and who in your life is that for you?
That song is actually about my little sister and April over there. Yeah, it's about both of them. So it's funny that you said it's big sister. But yeah, that's where it came from. It started out as kind of about them. I admire them. They're like two of my favorite people in the world. So I just wanted to let them know how important they were to like me and the world and like everything. But you know, as time went on, it kind of like started to apply to a lot of things. It applied to myself. Like it was like, well, are you paying attention to how great you are? And it was just really universal. And I didn't even want to keep that song at first. I was gonna try to sell that song to somebody else because I felt like it wasn't me. That's actually kind of like the first real, like, intentionally inspirational song I've like written for myself. Everything else is like little messages tied in, but you know, it might be about love or, you know, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It stuck. And also, one of my friends told me that he'd never listen to my music again if I didn't put that out first. But yeah, Polo. Shout outs to Polo for that. But the person in my life who's always been inspirational. Probably my mom. My mom's always been uplifting, and I have not always been a great character. I've had pretty difficult moments at life, but she's always accepted me and made me feel like I was great and tried to just pull to the forefront the good parts of me, even when I wasn't necessarily showing them. So that's the person who impacted me the most.
Moms are everything, yes. So I also love the fact that you talk about love. And your lyrics are really deep. I'm going to paraphrase because you know sometimes you try and you just fail because I'm not an artist. So you know, all right, thank you. You're gonna work with me, all right. So I like how your lyrics talk about I don't know how you found space to get in, and you thought your heart was closed. And I think a lot of women can relate to that because when you fall so hard, and it's like you do not ever want to experience that again, and then somehow you end up there again. So I wanted to know, like, if you wanted to mention an experience you had, and also just talk a little bit about why you think it's so easy for women to get stuck and for men to push on.
Whew. Okay, so I will talk about, I guess, my last experience before my current experience. Yeah, it was a little bumpy. It got really bumpy. And when I met, you know, the guy that I'm with now, Nice, when I met him, I was still kind of in the midst of that last relationship still. But I just felt like I was like, I'm not even thinking about you. Like, I'm completely closed off. Actually, I got a man, but like I don't know what you doing here, but like you lit, so I think I'm gonna go rock with this. And that was a really hard decision for me. And it, you know, it comes to like what you say about why is it so hard for women to leave. Like, you know, men leave their girls all the time for the next one and next one and next one, but a girl will stay. You do something stupid, we break up for a couple of months. Now we back together. They heard of, oh, let me, you know, how many of your friends have came to you, or you been that friend that came, I'm going back. I know, I love it. All of that. So I don't know. It's just really hard for women to do that. And I know because I did it and I felt bad for a really long time about it. And it started to affect my new relationship because I hadn't forgiven myself enough to like really just fully accept the love. So it's really powerful. Like, women just, I think we're just nurturing souls. Like, we're just nurturing souls, and we just feel like we can fix things all the time. And if something's wrong with the relationship in general, we can make it work. And that's what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. And like, men know that. So that's why they move the way that they move. You know, some. Let's not generalize. But in general, yeah, women, we just love harder. Like, we don't let go. It's different. And I don't know, you know, when you start talking about spiritually, people enter you. Once you enter me, now it's like, now you attached to me. You could go and you're external and stick it in whoever else, and now you polluting all of us. But it's not the same with us. It's not the same.
Right, and I'm glad you spoke on soul ties. I definitely feel like a lot of people are starting to connect more to that and realize it's a lot deeper than what the outside world makes it seem.
Right.
Yeah, are you spiritual? And do you want to talk a little bit about like how that helped you get through this year, if it did at all?
Um, I can't even describe how it did. But it definitely did. Like just me in general. I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. I don't practice anything specifically. I just really believe in myself and manifestation and your connection to others, the world around you, what you put out, and just energy and stuff like that. So like that it's not, I can't pinpoint exactly what it was that got me through, because it's really just a way of living and a way of dealing with everything that comes to you in life. So it's very hard to pinpoint. But yeah, just I feel like what you need to do in order to find yourself is really just find yourself. You got to do a lot of work, and you got to do a lot of crying and self-discovery and honesty, and you might have to curse yourself out a couple of times in the mirror, but do it with love, don't attack yourself, but you might have to be real and check yourself.
Right. No, I think that's definitely good advice. And I really, really love I Don't Care because it's so vulnerable. And it seems like definitely you found yourself in your coming off as a role model. And I just like how real you were. So why was it important for you to be so transparent on I Don't Care? And it's funny how we kind of already spoke about the concept of the song already, just about like, I can't let you go and it is what it is.
Well, I Don't Care is actually a funny story. It was really me working on not being judgmental. This is a person, I Don't Care is like not from my point of view. It's from someone else's point of view, actually. It was one specific person that I used to just see on Facebook all the time, just complaining about her man like every day. And I was just like, what the hell is wrong with this girl? Like, why doesn't she just leave him? And then I started encountering other people where I was just like, why are you staying with your man? And it started to like make me angry at those women, like, because I was just like, why don't you love yourself enough to understand that this is not the right person for you? And then one day I just had to kind of take a step back and acknowledge that I was being judgmental, and you don't know what their relationship is like. And maybe they are really in love and they just don't care about the type of stuff that you care about. Maybe if you feel like he's bad because he's cheating, maybe monogamy isn't as important to her as it is to you. So like you're being judgmental and you're judging people's relationships without knowing like anything about it. So I would challenge myself to kind of take a step back and try to be that girl. Like, I've never been that girl where you can come and tell me that you cheated on me every day, like, because it's people like that. I've never been that girl, so it's like far-fetched for me. But I really tried to put myself like, what if you really love somebody that no matter what they did, like, you would love them anyway? So I kind of tried to tap into whatever that person was feeling, and it made me understand and not be as judgmental. But it also made me like look at my relationship and realize that there's things that I would accept that other people would be like, oh, you crazy, I would have been left, So it's like, all right, you throwing stones, who knows like what these people have been through or what people think about what you've been through. So yeah, that's I Don't Care. It's me checking myself.
Wow, that's pretty cool because I was not thinking that at all. So I love how you just kind of threw that story in there, and yeah, it's totally opposite. That's so dope. So you're so welcome. Is there any song that was really difficult for you to make? So like a song that really came from your perspective that maybe you cried after making it, or you really hesitated before putting it out, and why?
Don't Stop was really hard. Don't Stop was really hard. It was kind of about a time in my relationship where I was going through things and I didn't know whose fault it was. Like, I didn't know if it was his fault or my fault, but I just knew it was like not where it was supposed to be. But like, I knew that I loved him a lot. So I was just like, I know it's mad shit going on, but don't stop loving me because this is going somewhere. Like, I know that. I don't know where it's going, but I know it's going somewhere. So just like, don't stop. So it was like, that was a really difficult song to write because it like made me also kind of look at myself and how I was negatively affecting the relationship. And I didn't want to do that because I want to think that I'm perfect, like everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even like, people have their ideas of their flaws. This is my flaw, but half the time, the flaws that you think are your flaws, your real problems is something completely different that you're not even addressing, because that's what you're really suppressing. You don't even want to know about that side of you or address that side of you, because that's the most difficult one. And I had to tap into that. And Tell Me What You Want to. Tell Me What You Want are both songs like that. I'm screaming, tell me what you want, like, and it's to him, but I realized like he don't know what you want because you don't know what you want. So you got to figure out what you want. So who you screaming at? That's why in the video it was like a mirror and me screaming at myself.
That was super deep. Like, and I just want to point this out. Addressing suppressing sounds like a whole nother song right there. That was fire.
I like that.
You feel me? Like, okay.
I got you some points for that.
Yeah, you feel me? Thank you. No, you know what? I did love the visuals. I have to ask. I know you shot it in 5 days. I love the mirror scene. I love that you were on the beach. I love the fact there was choreography in there. So you're so welcome. What was your favorite scene and why?
My favorite scene was rolling up. Yeah, because all my friends are in, like, all those people in there, those are like my literal, like, all best friends.
Rolling, 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 rolling. Everybody got opinions. I don't give a fuck about your feelings, no. Honestly, you should worry about yourself. Why you care about what I do? You got too much free time. Don't know how I change your mood when I'm not even thinking about you. You're ridiculous.
Like the closest friends that I have to me. And I can't say that we're not always together, because we literally are. Like, people don't experience like a big group of friends who's really like genuine the way that we are. We go on camping trips, we go on vacations, we have game nights whenever, we have random link ups where it's like all 15 of us. There's just for no reason. Like, we just really like love each other, support each other, and it's really beautiful. And I really like literally feel like that was like the best day of my entire life. Like, because I got to do that with all my friends. Everybody was made up, they was in lingerie, we was smoking. It was perfect. It was perfect. I literally could not ask for anything better than that. That's my favorite video, my favorite day ever.
I love that. So it seems like you're super chill, right? So you got to break it down for us. So now that we had a whole year of quarantine, I know you was working because the visuals are dope. You just dropped music, but what are you doing when you're not working?
Well, I do everything. I don't, except for parties. Like, that's funny. Okay. But I love to do like different things, different experiences. Like I said, me and my friends will go camping. My friend April and I, we've been axe throwing. I like to, like the tea room we were supposed to go to today that we couldn't go to. I like to do different things like that. I'm actually starting a show about that. It's called What You Doing. It's based off, the theme song is going to be my song. What You Doing.
Smart.
Right. Like but yeah, I'm like a little guru when it comes to experiences. All my friends know that if you want to do something cool, you could come to me. So I'm always doing something out of the box. If I'm not working and creating, I'm trying to do something cool, get some new inspiration.
No, that's definitely fire. So I definitely love your voice. It does remind me of Beyonce because of the way like you control it. You're so welcome. So who do you listen to? Like, who inspired you? Okay, this is so great. Yeah, because I'm listening. I'm like, I wonder if she knows she sound like Beyonce.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's so funny. I hear that sometimes. I don't think I sound like Beyonce, and that's only because I love Beyonce so much, and I don't even want to say that because tears, like the tears. But yeah, I'm heavy influenced by her though. Heavy influenced by her. I listened to a lot of Beyonce. Listened to a lot of Destiny's Child when I was growing up. So I learned a lot from her, for sure. But I love Erykah Badu. I like Emm Laissez Faire. I love Janet Jackson. I'm a big TLC fan. I like a whole lot of I'm like biggest influences are like 90s and 80s and stuff like that. But recently, like not recent, but Alina Baraz, her album Urban Flora, when did that come out? Like 2017. She she flipped the whole R&B game up, and I love like the way she attacks things. So I could say that she's an influence in some ways. Um, she's probably like my newest influence because I like what she does. Um, but I like other people. I'm inspired by a lot of people. SZA, Ari Lennox, Summer, like all the regular people, Georgia Smith, Sinead Harnett. So I listen to whatever comes to mind, but Beyonce, like that's my number one.
Okay, that makes sense because I was like
Yeah.
really like I don't know if she knows that. Like, and then it was funny because I was like, all right, let me listen to like as I kept playing, I was like, no, she really does. So yeah, that's like super dope. So I'm dying to know, what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy, I want my legacy to be inspiration, like, and not like I made a cool song and like you were just inspired by it. Like I want people to like literally like get up and do things for themselves, because like I'm pretty like honest about my process and my career. I don't pretend like I had a huge team. I don't pretend like I have no choice but to be humble, because I don't have too much at this moment. But the way I build and the resources and the way I know how to use them, that's key for me. And I want people to know that you don't have to have anything to make something happen for yourself. You just have the drive. You have to have the work. You got to learn. You got to want to do some research and figure out what you're going to do to make yourself happen for real. And I apply that to like my music. I apply that to my friends. Like I want my friends to all have their own businesses and to be great in their own ways. And just, I want us all to be like some big old village of mansions, and we all live right next to each other, where our whole business is like a whole city. I want stuff like that. So that's what I want to be. Like my legacy, I want it to be inspiration. I want to inspire people to be the best versions of themselves. I just want everybody to be great.
How can people stay tuned with your music and follow you?
Okay, you can follow me at JAI_EMM on Instagram. Everywhere else, I'm JMJAIEMM. Follow me on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, whatever you have, and be great.